Well, yeah, we built we built Facebook groups for our coaching clients, but then we have ones that we just, they're open to the entire public, and we put tons of information in there. It's like, here, if you want to do it on your own, 100% we support you. Here is some amazing tools you can use on the way, because we want to see your success. I don't care if you're paying me money. We want to make sure that you are living your best life, right? Yeah. So that's kind of what we've had at our core the entire time, and we, it's one of the things that we preach, but we practice it. So really cool. I think it's important. It's never just words. It can't just be words. Everybody spends their life planning. Everybody spends their lives with these grand plans, but a lot of time there lacks the action and the follow-up behind those. So if you can have these plans, but then still have the action and the follow-up steps behind them, I think that's the most important way for that growth to happen.
And hopefully, maybe someone here is listening to this and sort of at a crossroads. You don't have to live the way that you're living, and that it doesn't, you can put it into any category. Are you talking about weight? Are you talking about fitness? Are you talking about career? Are you talking about, your personal life? Like, there's so many avenues where this is such a topical conversation, because it all matters and it all fits. And I'm the first one out of anyone that I know. Like, if you want to tell me that you don't like your job, quit. Listen, you have no idea how many days you have left. That's a morbid thing. We have no idea. Why would you want to spend it being miserable? If you don't like the body that you're in, change it. And I'm not talking about, you can't get a new body. No, but if you're struggling with, weight, or if you're struggling with wanting to be stronger, if you're struggling with pain, like, there are ways around it. There's not just one thing for everyone. It can't be that way. We're so individual. But the hardest part about that is you have to change your mind. And there's one thing that I know is that your ego wants to keep you comfortable. Mm-hmm. It always wants to keep you comfortable. And you can make that decision, and then 2 days later, you're going to fall from that decision and think you're making a terrible decision. And it's in those moments that you really resign yourself to your true self. Because if you're making those decisions, that comes from a place of inner self, not outer. And your ego will always want to keep you comfortable. I'm sure you've experienced it throughout your business. I know we all have, where we think, well, this is never going to work. What did I think I was doing? Like, we experience that because our egos exist to keep us comfortable. Everything about our bodies wants to keep us comfortable. And it's up for us to be resilient and say, no, screw you. I know me better than me, right? So I'm just going to make these big changes, because, again, we have no idea how much time we have left. Why would you want to spend it miserable and beating yourself up? That's not even a cool place for anyone to be. And it just expels, right? Your energy shifts. Like, you'll manifest all of these things. Why would you want to do that?
I always start with mindset with my clients. I say, you can't change your outside until you change your inside. And that's where your mind is. Your body will go where your mind tells it to go, but also the inside, in the sense of replacing those Taco Bell cells with whole food cells, as we say, because it's constantly changing and shifting. What kinds of, what are some of the practices that you use mindset wise for your clients? Do you find that like a big piece of what you do?
I think that a lot of it comes back to individualization, because it really depends on where you're at in your life. Mm-hmm. And like, we're constantly growing, we're constantly changing. And so, a 19-year-old, early 20-year-old person is going to need a lot of different mindset advice than, your
65-year-old one.
Yeah, there you go. And so I think that it really depends. And that's one approach we really take with our clients. It's very individualized. But right now in the society, and we've already kind of touched on this a little bit here today, is like, kindness is huge, but we always practice outward kindness, right? Like, I'll be kind to others. I'm going to put myself on the back burner and do everything for everybody else. And one of the biggest things that we start with our clients is self-awareness and self-compassion. And they really do go hand in hand, mm-hmm. right? So self-compassion really has 3 components. The 3 components to make self-compassion is that you need to have kindness for yourself. you need to have common humanity, and common humanity means that you are not alone, right? So
we all suffer together.
we're suffering together. Like your pain in difficult times is exactly the same pain that I have in difficult times. They just, the degree of the pain, the way you feel the pain, all of that is just different. And so when you say there is that common humanity, it's like, it's part of the human experience to suffer. And so to know that you are not alone. I mean, people take on the approach of self-pity. It's like, poor me, why does this always happen to me? It's like, that is not common humanity. That is happening to everybody else. You're just not seeing it on the Facebook, news feed.
Nobody puts it in their Facebook highlights. So.
Right.
And then the third component, oh my gosh. Oh, mindfulness. Sorry, I'm like, what is it? It's there.
It's in my mind somewhere.
It's mindfulness with awareness and without judgment. And that is a huge thing, is that we live in a society where we're told we're not good enough, where, we're constantly being berated by ads. It's like, hey, if you don't have the latest hair care product, you're not going to be cool. If you don't have this, you're not going to be like, you're not going to meet this standard to keep up with the Joneses. And so like, when we're constantly judging ourselves and judging others based on these parameters that as society we've said this is how we need to be. And I feel like we need to start redefining that, get rid of that judgment, and just start looking within, right? And coming from a place of love and serenity, and instead of this place of judgment and not good enough. And I think that is the huge component to self-compassion. Yeah,
like everybody's their own biggest critic. And this is something that we talk to all of our clients about, because when they, like, if we have, let's say, a weight loss client that comes in, they won't even look at themselves in the mirror. And we're like, you need to get past this and start to realize that, you are where you are today because of choices you've made. You are here willing to make a difference. And outside of, the body image that you have for yourself, you are an amazing person. Like if you look at everything you've done, it's like, okay, well, you support your family. You are, probably the kindest person I know. And like you start to actually look at all of their traits, and they're like, okay, well, yeah, I'm a good person, but I still don't like the way I look. And I'm like, well, that's why you're here. Like you're willing to work on yourself. And that's the biggest step that a lot of people miss, is the willingness to change. So you're already taking this action. You're already on this journey. So you need to stop beating yourself up and berating yourself, and you need to start loving yourself and the fact that you are willing to make this change, and the fact that you are here already. You are on this journey. You are trying to improve your situation. So right there is a good place to start with that compassion, that self-compassion, that self-love.
And acknowledging that willingness to start as a success on its own.
Yeah.
Or restart however many, nth time it is, because it means that there is that desire there. And that's something that people overlook. You're right. I think they forget that. And even the little wins, like I drank 8 glasses of water today. That's great. I actually walked for 5 minutes a day. I didn't eat the cookie today because I made the choice to eat something else instead. Yay!
Or if you did choose to eat the cookie, be okay with it.
Embrace it. Honor it.
Yes.
And then be like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh, I let myself down.
I am the worst person in the whole
world.
Stop, move on, right? Like so many, and this is, I mean, you guys work with diet clients too. This is one of those things where if they have an off moment, they feel like it has to be a complete off day. Sometimes you're like, whoa.
Oh, F it, I'm just going to eat all the things.
Or week or month. And, it's funny, 2 things I just wanted to touch on real quick is that you said that we are our choices. And that is so 100% true. And it sounds like it couldn't be such a negative thing, but it's not. If you look at yourself, who you are right now, it is a sum of your choices. If you don't like the person, if you don't like the thing that you're looking at, or it doesn't feel right to you, you also have that. You have that choice to choose differently. So we are always the sum of our choices. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And the other thing that you just alluded to was, right, like, I'm going to have the cookie, or that word just, I think when we add it into something, it can be so debilitating, right? Like, I hike a lot with my partner, and we hike the Appalachian Trail. We section hike the Appalachian Trail. So when someone would come, a hiker, a through hiker would come up, that means that they're doing the whole trail, and they would come up and they say, oh, where'd you guys start? Or, they want to have this conversation. And our response would always be, oh, we just our section hiking. Oh, we just started today. Just. And it was in those moments that I was like, that is such a debilitating word, because I'm already taking back from my experience. I'm suggesting that your experience is greater than mine already. And you're not experiencing that. Do you know what I mean? It's like when we say, well, what do you do for work? Oh, I'm just like, no, stop with that word. It's such a terrible, terrible word. I'm just here for 5 minutes. You're at the gym. It doesn't matter how long you're here. You've already we are so negative to ourselves. Do you know what I mean? With our language, especially, like, just take that just out of it. And people, again, I've probably activated that little, that RAS in everyone right now, where they're going to hear them minimizing themselves in such a way by using that word.
I love that. I love that you brought it up like that too, because right there speaks to the third point of what Kaila was talking about for this growth pattern, is that mindfulness, right? So a lot of people don't have the ability to I'm going to say, see their thoughts in that sense, where they're like, oh, I'm just saying just a lot, right? But just what you said there, it's like, okay, no, I actually am paying attention to the dialogue going on through my head. You're being mindful. So that's a beautiful thing in itself.
Well, just simply awareness, right? When you have awareness and you can bring awareness to something, you can start to name it as this is that, right? When we give something a name, we are able to then cultivate it into change, right? It's like with a kid, they're like, what emotion are you feeling right now? And they're just screaming. And we tell our kids, you need to stop, you need to breathe, and you need to come up with an idea about what emotion you're feeling. It's like, well, I'm angry. Awesome. You're feeling angry. Where do you feel that in your body? What do you want to feel instead of angry? Why do you feel angry, right? Let yourself go through the entire process. Feel it, don't become it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's one thing we often talk about with our clients, or when I teach like trauma yoga, is like, feel the emotion, don't become the emotion. And I think, Tiffany, that was one of the things you said, is like, it's the language that we're using, right? If you say, I am sad, you are that emotion. And guess what? There is no other option for you to be anything other than sad.
Right.
But if you say, I feel sad, it allows that opportunity to say, I might feel something else at some point too. I'm also hungry,
right. It's like when people say, I had a really bad day. Your entire day was bad.
No.
You got up this morning. Nothing really bad happened. It may have felt bad, but it wasn't all bad. And we limit ourselves with our language in such a way, because if we say that, oh, guys, I had such a bad day. Oh, really? Tell me about it. Well, this, that, and this happened. Well, I probably forgetting about, I might have mentioned 3 bad things, but I'm forgetting about the 72 other good things.
Well, bad in comparison to somebody else's day, you might have had a really good day. Like,
seriously,
if you're having a bad day because your car broke down, and somebody else is having a bad day because they don't have clean drinking water, they don't have they don't have electricity. Like there's so much that bad can be a lot worse. So bad on a scale of everybody's is subjective, but you got to take that in stride too, because when I see people that say they're having a bad day because their Instagram post didn't get as many likes, and I'm like, this is really what we're concerned about right now? Like there's bigger issues to fry here. A lot of times it comes back to the fact that maybe these people, whoever's using this, maybe these people don't have proper coping mechanisms in their life. Maybe they just haven't learned the skills that they need to be able to deal with their day-to-day life. Because of this society we live in, because we're also, I'll use the quotes here, connected through Facebook and Instagram and the internet. It's not like it was like, Kaila and I looked at a study recently, and it was like from 1999 to 2014, the depression and anxiety rate went up by 65%. And that's kind of where we started to get these, like, I'll call the connections again with Facebook and Instagram and all these, everybody's connected by smartphones, right? You have the world at your fingertips. So it's no longer just your immediate social circle that's going to kind of impact your life. Now you have everybody you've ever been to high school with, everybody you've ever worked with, all of these people that are seeing your life on a day-to-day basis. And if they're not liking your posts, you're getting immediate feedback that's like, oh man, I'm not loved and appreciated. So a lot of times we live in these heightened states of stress, right? So then if everybody's in a heightened state of stress, you got your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system. And if your sympathetic nervous system is always firing because everything is attacking you, then you don't ever come out of that. So without learning coping mechanisms, then these people maybe do feel like everything is an FML because I am so heightened right now and I don't know how to come back out of that.
When I think a piece of that too is like the feel good endorphins that you're also getting from these technologies, right? That immediate dopamine hit. I mean, like, I'm sure you guys have seen this. It's like somebody comes in for a consultation and you go through, like, they've now been a client for about a week and a half and they're like, I haven't lost 5 pounds yet.
Yep.
And you're like, I'm sorry, I didn't bring my magic wand.
Weigh yourself right in the morning after you go to the bathroom.
Right.
But they want that immediate gratification because we get so used to it, right? Or you've got these, like, I'm going to call them fad diets, where it's like, if I jump on this fad diet, I'll lose 20 pounds in a month. Nobody tells you that 10 pounds of that is water, but just by the way, you just lost 20 pounds. Congratulations. You only really actually lost 10, and you're going to spend your entire life gaining and losing that same 10 pounds.
Yeah. Well, and then they don't, the fad diets and the crash diets drive me nuts because they don't get taught anything, right? Like,
No.
Every single nutrition client that we take on, we teach you how to eat properly. We preach whole foods. We teach you, first and foremost, you got to hit your protein. Okay. So we're really focusing on what needs to be focused on, and we're teaching them how to do this in a sustainable way. We're not telling you, cut your calories by 1,500 today and you will get thin. It's like, well, yeah, we could starve it off, but the second you stop this, then you're going to go right back to eating how you were, and you're going to gain back that weight, probably plus an extra 5 pounds or 10 pounds anyways.
Not to mention the health ramifications of doing that. I, as a lifelong cereal dieter until I got into my 40s and then into my 50s, I just was like, you can't do that to your body and expect it to be okay. Yeah. And it takes its toll. I was just speaking to somebody. I was doing a kind of a discovery call with somebody. And they said, well, what I really want is just to do, I understand about the sustainability and all that, but what I really want to do is just do something so I can drop a quick 20 and then I'll learn those things. I'm like, have a nice day. There are plenty of free diets on the internet. Don't spend your money. It's okay. When you're ready to get healthy, you work with a coach like any of us in this circle. Yes, it's a slow burn, but when you get to your goal, you'll already know how to maintain it because there's nothing to go off or get back to.